Oh my goodness, we are live. And this is Debbie Duncan and Reverend Kevin Lee, and we're here for a pop-up talk. And so a short talk, 2 topics, and a reading, and it's just going to be great. So we're going to start now. Kevin, we were talking earlier about this crazy thing that happened to me on an investigation.
Yes.
So yeah, it was, this is so neat when we go out and do these great things. We're at Pioneer Park, and we had a tornado happen from this big tree, emitted this great strong wind, and the mediums were really taken back from that. And what they told me when I got to them, they were scratched up and everything. Wow. And they told me that what they saw in the tree was this big circle. So we're going to call it a portal. And it was dark, Kevin. Right. But what they saw inside was a very big, shadow man, a shadow dark figure.
That surprised me.
Now, I knew it was not friendly because they were scratched up. And so I went ahead and we fixed the scratches, and I went and just did my thing around the tree. Some orbs kind of flew out and the portal closed. But what I want to talk about tonight, Kevin, is how do you know when we meet an entity face to face, we have an encounter, right, be it a ghost or whatever, a shadow person, how do we know if it's friend or foe?
A great question. You know, it's interesting because I guarantee you, if we were to speak to those 2 mediums who had that encounter, there was something that happened immediately as they saw the experience, the portal, the entity, and that was, they would have had this resonance in their core, and we call that a gut feeling, right? And so this gut feeling will tell you instantly, does this feel of the light or not of the light? And so this is also called psychic sensing, or clairsentience, as we know, in a proper scientific way. But really, it just all goes right back to how does this experience, communication, visualization, whatever I'm going through, how does it make me feel in my core? So it's about, anytime we encounter these experiences, just stopping for a moment, not focusing externally, but going back to our center, our core, our truth, to feel, how does this make me feel? Of the light, positive, or not of the light? Darker, lower vibrational. That's really a great way to go right back to gut feeling. That's what they need to do.
Oh, that's right. And so I knew because of the scratches, and I took it from the mediums when they told me, oh, we have this feeling, and they said, you need to go take care of the tree.
Absolutely.
Then I went ahead and did it.
Absolutely. So, you did a beautiful. You did a beautiful job.
Thank you. So many times people are really afraid when they see ghosts and things like that. But sometimes they're loving people in our lives, and we need to go with that gut feeling. But it's time to flip the switch, isn't it, Kevin?
Absolutely, to switch, flip that switch. You know, Debbie, I want to tell you that Catherine on Twitter earlier, she reached out to us, and she wants to know about this new gentleman in her life. She wants to know if there's any potential for romance. I know you always have your cards, so would you like to go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, I'm already ready for Catherine. Right, Catherine, I'm going to tell you that I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm known throughout the world for that. I tell it as it is. But let me tell you, before I tell you about this guy, a little bit about yourself. I do have a Queen of Swords here. I'm a Queen of Swords, Kevin. So we have a big personality, a very strong woman, and you have a justice theme, by the way. So right and wrong. Hugely compassionate, but a fighter, and I love that. You champion causes. So I really like that in you. Now, crossing energy is getting something that you're unsure of. So an offer that I'm unmotivated to take that. So this is what's going on. Now, I'm going to skip the future card, and I'm jumping to the past. He is a King of Swords, so he's very much like you. But the King of Swords, sometimes a little bit inflexible, very much a fighter, and physically strong also. But I do get it's his way or the highway, by the way. Okay, a little bit inflexible there. There is a love connection, so we have an attraction here. But let me tell you, when I get the Knight of Swords, Catherine, this means he cannot commit. And this is my Danger Will Robinson thing. Don't go there because he's not going to commit right now. When I see the Devil card, the negative energy, along with my Sneaky card and another woman, Hello? No. He is going to cheat. If he's not cheating now, I'm getting that he's going to cheat. And you're going to find out. It's going to hit the fan with the tower. Comes out of nowhere, and there you go. But I just told you what's going to happen. The future card is the breakup card. All right? So I get it's a big no, Catherine. Don't even start up. Let him go. What do you get, Kevin?
Debbie, you know what? You're on point. I mean, not much more I can say because you've covered it, but you did use something very interesting. You said you sensed his way or the highway. You sensed that ego, which is really all about himself, and visually or symbolically, I'll say, I saw an X is the best way I can describe it. And it was red, which is more of a troublesome color for me. And so that tells me, Catherine, that this person does not have your highest and best interest at heart. There may be a potential for friendship, but I don't know that I would even do that because it just goes right back to all about him. So I would rather you protect yourself and in the sense of honoring the divine feminine that you are and moving forward in life without him in your life.
That's great. But we're going to flip the switch
Absolutely.
on the next topic, right? Okay. We know, Kevin, that you are into precipitation mediumship.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, my gosh. That fascinates me so much. But I love it when you go all over. You've been all over the world, of course, and seances and all that stuff.
I see it now.
Yeah. But when you go and you talk about materialization of things just coming out from the other side,
they do.
It's fabulous. So let's talk about that for a few minutes.
All right. So you asked about precipitation. Well, precipitation mediumship is the ability of an individual, such as a medium, who has this power that is able to be utilized by the spirit world to actually dematerialize pigments or colors like crayons, inks, and things like that. They will take that into the spirit world, reform it, reprocess it, and through the mind control of that spirit, they will rematerialize that back into our dimension onto a canvas or onto cards, onto all kinds of things. That one of my students recently even had it materialize onto her hand, which was amazing. And they lay it down intelligently. You will see literally signatures of loved ones. You will see the names of loved ones who have passed on. You will see symbols that mean something evidentially to you or your family or your loved ones that have crossed into spirit that you recognize. You may even see faces of your loved ones appearing through the various pigments that are used. And that whole process is materialization. So that's a much broader term for it. And materialization is what we hear about in a lot of these Hollywood movies when they talk about spirit moving things or stepping into the room, walking out of a closet, or sitting on the side of your bed. There is a physical, a palpable force that is created. That is a materialization of the spirit form in a much denser, lower vibrational expression. So materializations are incredible. They can be truly just breathtaking and beautiful. They can be a little intimidating if you're not ready for it. And we call that it's much more advanced mediumship. It's a form of physical mediumship, which just means spirit is able to have a physical a force in our dimension. So I love all of this stuff, materialization, apports. Apports, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier today. I think I did. But apports are when objects literally are dematerialized from one location and they are taken into spirit and then rematerialized in your presence, in your room, in your spirit circle, even outside. How many times have you ever seen, I've seen it twice in my life, feathers fall from my ceiling in my house, no windows open. I have no birds in my house. They both were white feathers, which was interesting. You know, it's a beautiful spiritual sign. But 2 different times, feathers have fallen in my home, and they should not have been on my ceiling. They fell out of the ethers. That's a materialization. And so it's really interesting when people walk down sidewalks or they walk into a home and they look down and there's a feather, and a unique feather or a very unique coin that maybe even has the year it was minted was the year your loved one departed and went to spirit. And your loved one always talked about dimes, or they always collected buffalo nickels. And there is a buffalo nickel with the year they transitioned to spirit. Is that evidential? Hell yes. Is that amazing and healing and inspiring and uplifting? Hell yes. And it just goes to show your loved ones are not dead. We don't die. We continue living when we go into the spirit world of life. We just have a different form. So I could talk about this for hours, but I know time is limited. I just wanted to share a little bit of what I've experienced with you.
Well, I have to tell you something. When you said dimes, because I would find pennies all the time. I've always found money. And then I said, no, I want you guys to send me dimes. I'll open up the back door, and there's nobody ever at my car. Nobody ever sitting there. There's a dime sitting there. Right. I just, anywhere. There'll be a dime all the time. And it's just amazing. Yep. Oh, okay. Let me ask you about the feathers. Do you really feel like it's a sign from an angel?
Well, that's an interesting question. And I'll say this. There are so many different names for people in the spirit world. The concept of angels, you know, that they're messengers of God. I do believe they exist, but I also understand that they are a much higher evolved being, and our loved ones tend to be the ones, even our spiritual teachers in the spirit world, or spirit guides, or our guardian spirits, they are much more likely because they're much more humanized, and they have chosen to remain behind in the evolutionary path of souls to stay closer to the earth dimension, the fourth dimension, the third dimension. Mm-hmm. And so they're able to manipulate matter a lot easier, whereas much more ascended beings tend to not spend their time and energy on that. They have a much broader spiritual focus. But our spiritual guides, and even our loved ones, our grandmothers and our children, they will bring us little tokens of affection that they know will inspire us and bring our soul light brighter into a higher frequency. And that's why they do it.
Do you know that I was touched by an angel?
I believe it.
I mean, okay, you guys, you know, I have a million stories because I'm always telling my stories. But I was doing a reading in this room. I'm in my apothecary tonight. And let me tell you, I was doing this reading. I did this reading for someone, and she brought in her cousin. And I never met her. She was from Hawaii, and she sat down. And you know me, I'm poker face. I just do the reading and tell you what's going on. And I felt something touch my cheek, and I went like this, and it was just like feathers went like this. And I was like, you know, and I started choking up. I hate to admit this, you guys.
It's okay.
But I was choking up, and I was putting the cards down, and I go, and I was like, what's the matter with me? I don't understand what's going on. And I stopped the reading, and I said, I have to stop the reading and tell you someone's here. I said, I'm not an emotional person, and I am getting very choked up right now and very emotional because I was touched, and it was like this.
Beautiful.
And like feathers. And she was laughing. And I thought, why are you laughing? And she goes, out in the car, I told Archangel Michael to touch you on the face if you were real.
Oh my gosh. I love it. And that's important because why? She said she asked an angel, a spiritual being, to do something, to show a sign. And that's one of the things, the reasons why the dimes began for you was because you asked. They did not appear until you asked. And so many times I've heard spiritual leaders and mediums and psychics and channels, they always say, if you will only ask us, you give us permission to serve you, to guide you, to open opportunities and endorse into your life. We can bring you gifts and amazing experiences, but you have to ask. You have free will. And that's a beautiful example.
You know what? I wish we had more time because I want to talk more and more and more about all of this. But thank you guys for the pop-up talk and listening to us and watching. Kevin, and you're found where?
Yes, so you guys can go to my website. My ministry website is revkevinlee.com, R-E-V, kevinlee.com. I've got a couple of beautiful meditation albums that I channeled from Spirit, and one is actually on Precipitation, Debbie finally. This year it's in physical form, and the other one is just a beautiful general metaphysical album. So those are some wonderful things people can take home and listen to.
Look at us. We had such a productive 2015.
Yes.
And here we are, you guys, happy new year, because here we have the chance to have this shiny new year and all these wonderful things coming in. And I could sit here and talk about with Kevin and talk about manifesting forever. We need to do something, a program, because we are so into that. And so, but we're going to go ahead and say goodnight to everybody. And you can find me at psychicfixes.com or right here on this page. So Kevin, thank you so much for jumping in and doing a pop-up talk.
Thank you. Always good to hear your voice. Love you. Love and light.
Love you too. Okay, everybody. Good night.